Hey guys, this is Stick. Um, I'm not exactly sure what state I'm in because I'm actually tired. I've been up trying to figure out how to go about this YouTube thing. I almost wish I was in a positive state, that way I can just ramble off a whole bunch of ideas and it's just everybody comment, okay, I want to know about that, I want to know about that, I want to know about that. Hey, wait, and keep back and forth. I guess I'm kind of halfway in the positive state because I can't really stay on a certain subject, and I am tired, so that's a little added thing. Sorry about the video about being covered up. It's a piece of yellow tape over the camera. Eventually, I'm gonna get comfortable. I just don't want people looking at me, man. I'm 114 pounds. I'm skin and bones, dark circles under my eyes. I'm scary to myself. The only mirror I have in the house is a 2x4 gold plated Welding shield, and I got it sitting at an angle. I don't see it when I brush my teeth and stuff. Hair's falling out. The only thing I have left of the world is my 4 decades of experience. I'm really looking for some help with maybe my medical bills, and the only thing that I can't physically work anymore. I just had surgery, and I got a colostomy bag on my side. I'm not getting grossed out or anything like that, but at the exact same time, it is what it is. And all intents and purposes, reality is something you cannot really get away from, no matter how many YouTube videos or video games you play. It is there, and it will not go anywhere. The best you can do is I don't know, if you're allergic to lemons, what do you make? Tea? Coffee? I drink coffee all the time. But excuse me. I have I spent most of my life not talking at all because my dad, he's very extrovert. He's a scary person. I'll tell you one thing. I'm not trying to brag or anything, sound all crazy, but you did not show emotions. You did not talk, especially when Jeopardy was on. When Jeopardy was on, you did not talk at all. Your best bet's just, yeah, don't say anything. Plan everything accordingly ahead of time. It's a new version of like ADHD or whatever. Just like, I don't know. It's hard to explain. I'm obsessive compulsive. You know those things where people say like, if you're blind, you can hear real well, or all your olfactory senses, one goes to the other. Mine, my mouth doesn't work unless I'm in the neutral stage, because it's like almost like drinking alcohol and you got liquid courage. You got confidence, you feel very good, but you spent your entire life around inanimate objects, because when you was growing up, everybody, you was super skinny, clothes didn't fit, you always dirty. Like, I didn't eat meat till I was 23 years old. I made it through 4 years of military. I was starving to death living with a trailer with my friend because I moved from where I was stationed to where I got recruited, which is like halfway across the United States, from California all the way out to Alabama. But I've lived in almost every single state, from California, where I was born, to Arizona, to Texas, Alabama, Florida a bunch of times, Alabama another time, living in Arkansas, North Carolina. My dad's just military brat. Everybody in the family is military except one brother. He's 5 years older than me. Actually, he's 4 years, 6 months to the date older than me. His entire life, ever since he was 18 years old, he's been a tattoo artist. I'm talking, he is a professional. He used to live in North Carolina, but he got tired of going out to Vegas for conventions and getting awards and stuff, so he ended up moving out to California. He's been out to California since 2003, and I haven't seen him since. I just talked to him about a month ago after I got my diagnosis. Well, it hasn't been a month. It's been back to October when I got my diagnosis. And here it is, March. 2 days. October the 16th when I was diagnosed. I'm talking about crying, man. I cried like a damn baby. I don't know. I cuss a lot. I'm trying not to cuss because I don't know how these YouTube videos are gonna go. But when I'm flowing, if I don't cuss, I can't flow. It's just my speech patterns are messed up. So it's like if I'm sitting there singing fucking this and fucking that, it's just it's filler, and it helps me. It's just long story short. I was analyzed when I was in boot camp back in '97. I'm 44 years old now. Well, December the 8th, yeah, December the 8th of '97. And they was wondering why I on my paperwork, filling out applications and doing writing, that I had all these scribble marks because like it was just like somebody just redacted a whole entire everything. So they had me a psychoanalyst, and I talked to a psychiatrist for pretty much the same damn thing, and they said that my brain actually goes faster than my hand was able to keep up. I was thinking into the future. Like I would write down some words, and I was already thinking about what I was going to write ahead of time to the point where I was 5-6 words ahead of where my pencil was on the word in the sentence, and I would write down the word I was on, then look down and realize what I did, scribble it out, and start the sentence over again. And I'd done that. I could not stop doing it. And they said that my brain was going a little too fast for my hands, and I don't have the verbal skills. Sometimes I can't pronounce words. I can read Spanish. I can read English. I haven't tried any other languages because I don't know. I just found out that it's really hard to speak, and I've spent most of my life just reading. I've been inside myself, messing with tools, and reading. I know I'm repeating, and it's 7 minutes and 12 seconds into the video, and that people don't watch videos all the way through and everything, but I can't get my mouth. I don't stutter, but it's just sometimes the words just don't work out right. I didn't learn any extra languages because most of the languages you learn, you got to have a native speaker, and dude, if you can't even speak English. And I remember back when I was in the 4th grade, I couldn't sit still, and the teachers wanted to know what was going on. So I told them I was not engaged or entertained enough. So when I was in the 4th grade, they went to I know the teacher's name, school, everything, remember it all. I was allowed to go for most of the time for certain periods of the day to 1st grade. So I was a 4th grader teaching 1st graders math. Math and science has always been my biggest things, and throughout these videos, I'm gonna need your guys' help for you and for me. I want to gift you with my knowledge. I don't want you to take offense to any of this. I'm not gonna actually say the word, but it's like I don't believe in religion, and I really don't understand words sometimes. Like if people say bad words and derogatory words like the N word and stuff like that, it's just I know the actual meaning of the word, and I know how people use it in context. So I become neutral to so much that the amount of stuff that I have learned in my life, I have read more books in my life than I could possibly count. I've never forgot most of the stuff that I've read. I've read over 1,000 books, 3,000 books, and I'm being honest with you to the best of my ability. And another thing I'll tell you right now, and I swear on my life, I don't lie. The reason I don't lie is because I don't do anything negative that I have to cover up, and I know how everything works, and I am smart enough to tell you that I do not know. And if I do not know, I guarantee you I will find out, because my brain won't let me not, because it'll bug me enough to the point where I've been through this a lot, that I can't function until I know something that I don't know, but I've known so much that if you don't use it, you lose it. And my gift to you is your gift to me. And what I'm trying to say is I need you guys to give me not hints, but reminders of things that you want to talk about or what you would like to know, described in a way that I guarantee you will be able to understand and possibly use, like life hacks and little stuff like that. Um, I've just spent my entire life alone, and it's like I don't know what it would be like if I was anybody else. But if I was anybody else, or if I went back in the past and changed, I wouldn't know what it'd be like to not be what I am now. But I am glad that I am the way that I am now, because I have trials and tribulations. I have been through a lot of stuff. I got one family member left, which is my mom. She's got multiple sclerosis. She had her kneecaps taken out, her patellas. I know all the bones in the human body. Before the ones in the brain, or not the brain, but the skull formed to create a solid bone. And I call my mom, they're patellas. She didn't know what a patella was. But that's your kneecaps, called a patella. And they was taken out in '86. That's the exact same year that my dad graduated for welding. But he's been welding and doing stuff ahead of time. But he wanted to create a business, and he had to have proof that he knew how to weld. He knew how to weld before he went to class, but he didn't know the technical book parts of it. And I didn't know the technical book parts of it, but I've been welding since I was like, I think the first time I used a cutting torch, I was 8 or 9 years old, because my dad got aggravated with me running around. I used to take motors apart. So my whole life was Goodwill. I've never owned a pair of Nikes or Reeboks in my life. And I used to take little motors apart. And I could take some enameled magnet wire and just one magnet and 2 paper clips, and I can make a motor just like that. It's kind of, I'm tired. I've been up all night. It's 10:25, and I woke up yesterday because I said I gotta get these videos out. I've got some astronomical, after I just had surgery, I got some astronomical medical bills, and the only thing I have to offer the world now, since I can't work, is my knowledge. And back to going, well, this is kind of a positive thing, because I go off on random tangents where I can't stay on a solid subject. When I'm balanced, I'll stick on a subject, and I'll make it a point to where I might deviate just a little bit, but I'll stay on that subject, and it'll be worth it. And even if you don't want to watch it, I'm getting this off my chest. And by you giving me ideas and reminding me, back to this subject, you reminded me of something to talk about. It's like that story, or not a story. My philosophy is I know hundreds and hundreds of jokes, because I spent my whole life just listening to people and not bothering anybody. And everybody knows I'm quiet. If they know how I am for my personality, my chemical imbalances. And to prove a point about the chemical imbalances, my dad used to say, he'll argue with you. He might even fight you. But if he starts crying, you get the hell out of the country. Because I would wake up and my parents would be holding me, and I would have bruises on my arms because I would have like a temper tantrum, or I'd get upset, and in my chemical imbalance, like I could completely black out. That's made me scared of confrontation, because I'm not afraid of what you would do to me. My knowledge of how stuff is makes me afraid of what I will do to you. And my dad's Vietnam. He's growing up with somebody who's all they spend their entire life yelling and screaming, in this, Mexican this, blah blah blah, and he just doesn't care. That is the scariest person I could possibly imagine in my life. Like, we'd be walking around the flea market, and the whole flea market is just filled with Latinos. And my dad would yell and scream, I wish all these blah 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 would go back where they come from, and this right there, and if there's a black guy walking by, he'd start. I don't know why he done that. I just don't know. But that scared me to the point where I was like, they're going to hurt us. They're going to make me have to defend my dad. My dad's going to get me killed because he can't stop talking. And he's always been like that his entire life. I love him to death. He passed away 10/16/2011. And it was COVID that got him. He smoked for 33 years and quit smoking back in 1989 because he had emphysema. I've seen the x-rays. He has, like, I'm talking about the size of your hand. Is all he had left on one of his lungs. He smoked Vantage 100 cigarettes. And if you ain't never seen a Vantage 100 cigarette, it's a cigarette. If you turn it and look at the filter, it has a hole in it. It's like there's no filter there. It's the craziest cigarette I've ever seen. And he hadn't smoked since 1989 all the way up to he's never smoked again. And he got COVID back in March, like March or so of 2000, I believe, or 19. I'm not exactly sure. But what he had microbacteria abscessus. He had a quarter or a 50-cent size infection in his lungs that there was no cure for. But that's a lifetime of welding and pressure washing and soldering and dusting and sandblasting and working with asbestos and sawdust. He done everything. Car exhaust, everything. I'm talking everything. It would be like you wake up in the morning, it wouldn't be nothing new to like you walk in the front room and Dad's sitting there with a piece of cardboard. He's got a carburetor like at 1,000 freaking pieces, and he's rebuilding it. And like he had small engine repairs, electronics. I went to Allen Thornton Aero Vocational School when I was 15 and 16 because I had a lifetime obsession with electronics. And I used to follow my dad around when I was a kid. He taught me, he had this little thing that had wheels on it for different colors for the old ceramic capacitors. Like capacitors have metal shavings in them, or carbon, that the more it is, the more, well, I'll go into that if you want to know about it later. But I can explain it in detail, draw pictures, all the numbers. But my dad taught me how to use a soldering iron, and he gave me a heat sink, and he just gave me circuit boards. And he explained with a multimeter how to check the circuit boards. There's a positive sign with a line underneath it, which is a positive and negative. A capacitor will work, or a Leyden jar, whatever you want to call it, but a capacitor will work. It has a charge and a discharge timer. But what I'm trying to say is a capacitor will work if it's not burned up. There's wood, there's oil, there's air, there's glass, there's plastic that goes in between the sheets. There's a bunch of different kinds. But a capacitor will work, but it has the symbols to test it. There's like a positive and a negative. There's a positive sign with a line underneath it. There's a very specific number for each capacitor that above, like +2 and -2, that those capacitors have to be within for it to actually be a working capacitor. Or how do I explain this? A capacitor that does the job it's intended to do. Because most capacitors will work, but if you don't check them with a multimeter, it could be like 5 points above what it's supposed to be or 5 points below what it's supposed to be because it's almost burned out. And that's kind of an explanation. I've got books. I've got a library full of books, and I used to be a Pathfinder. Anything that explains something that was, I don't know, man. That was my life because I couldn't figure out how to interact with people, and I thought maybe if I know something, maybe I can figure it out. But I never could, and it got to the point where I just didn't want to anymore. So therefore, I just didn't have any emotions. There was like no empathy or anything like that. Like I can watch videos of the dogs, of like ASPCA, and I can't think about being sad for the dog. The only thing I can think about is how they're using that dog in a way to try to get people to feel something that they don't feel. I know I'm smart enough to know that that's not right, that I'm supposed to have some feeling in there, but I don't understand. It's like I don't know if you guys have ever seen Showtime, but Dexter, how he has to act like he's a human. In all reality, he has no emotion. He doesn't understand. That's me in a nutshell, 100% pure nutshell. If you ever meet me in excuse me, I'm starting to stutter. If you ever meet me in person, you will understand. My friend gave me a quote one time, and he says, "You know what, Stick? I've been called Stick my entire life, man, because I used to live out in the woods, and I'd come home from school, man. I just wanted to get me and my dog and just go play out in the woods, man. They had fortresses and contraptions and traps and all kinds of crazy stuff." But he gave me a quote, and I hope I get it right. I'm not trying to get it wrong because it's better if I get it right like I'm supposed to, because it's just it's a good one. The way it goes is, when you meet me, you think I'm quiet. When you talk to me, you wish I was quiet. When you Oh man, there's my intro to the thing. I'm reading this from my YouTube page because it's my little symbol for the little picture thing. And I'll start again. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to mess up. But see, when you meet me, you think I'm quiet. When you talk to me, you wish I was quiet. When you know me, you get scared when I'm quiet. And he said, you know what, Stick? He's like, this is exactly you. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, well, when I first met you, I thought you was quiet. And he's like, when I got to talk to you, you're really, really smart, dude. You're so smart. I can't talk to you. You're scary, man. And some of the things that you think of and the way you explain things, I never thought of it that way. And he's like, you know too much, man. You're messed up in the head. Then I was like, what do you mean? He's like, man, some of the stuff that you think and the way you explain it. And we start talking about, like, if somebody ever made you mad and stuff that you've been through your childhood, when you're like the animals that's been killed, and it's just all kinds of crazy stuff. I'll talk about that later. It's a tangent. And he says, now that I know you and I see you walk around quiet, I'm scared because I know how you think, and I know of the stuff that you think about, and you dwell on stuff all day long. And he's like, I've seen you when people make you mad. You instantly go quiet. And the first thing that pops in my mind, he told me the first thing that pops in my mind is like, you're killing them right now. You're messing them up. You're burning them. You're flaying them. You're torturing them. You're doing all kinds of crazy stuff to him. That man has no idea what's going on in your head right now, but I do. And I see you like that. I'm scared. I was like, you know what? I appreciate that, man, because that's exactly how I feel. But it was that hit a point. It's like it in my brain. It's like that's me, 100% me. And I've been locked up for 12 and a half years. I just got out in September because I got drunk, and the Four Loko and the juice and like the tilt and all those things. So I never really got drunk. Because I would end up peeing and all that stuff, but the alcohol content was just like beer. I didn't drink liquor or nothing. I just drank beer because I have eating disorders. My dad called me a liquid baby. He says I got buck teeth, and he's like, he said the only way to get the bottle out of my mouth was to put black electrical tape on it. And I don't like texture. I like fruits and nuts and vegetables and all that stuff now. I didn't eat meat till I was 23 years old because I was starving to death. But I would eat Rice Krispie treats, bread, cookies, popcorn, Pringles. I would not eat anything that was good for me. It's like I would eat whole tubs of Rice Krispie treats. And when I took the ASVAB to get in the military, I scored so high on the test that I was going to be an M1 Abrams tank turret mechanic in Fort Knox, Kentucky. But I was 118 pounds. I needed to be a minimum of 136 for my height. And they was going to put lead underwear on me, but I was just thinking they was lying and all that stuff. But I went into the Coast Guard. The Coast Guard did not have a weight limit. I ended up becoming... I was stationed out to where I was born. I was born out in California. I got recruited in Alabama, and I went from boot camp. And you know, there's only one boot camp for the Coast Guard in the whole United States. That's Cape May, New Jersey. There's a bunch of boot camps for the Army, the Navy, and the Marines and all that. But there's only one for Coast Guard. I was up there December the 8th of 97. 118 pounds in Cape May, New Jersey, doing push-ups in the rain and the snow. And my teeth were so bad because my dad had his teeth pulled out when he was 19 years old. And I didn't really know how to brush my teeth. And I ate a lot of candies and Butterfingers and Heath Bars and Fifth Avenues and nougat after nougat. And the Butterfingers is what Bart Simpson. You know, I got suspended from... No, I didn't get suspended. I had a Bart Simpson shirt, Crack Heels, where he's stuck between the ladies' big butt cheeks. They made me put black electrical tape on it because I worked at school one time in junior high school. I used to be the artist for the yearbook, and they made me turn the shirt inside out. And when I turned the shirt inside out, the tape was on the inside, and you could still see the shirt. so I got in trouble for that. But that was a tangent, and I didn't mean to. But anyways, what was I talking about? Yeah, I ate a lot of Butterfingers, and it rotted my teeth out. So I spent most of my time in boot camp in the. I had two bosun's mates, a male and a female. The bosun's mates are the ones that run the ships and do the boarding parties and stuff like that. We stopped the ship one time down in Mexico. They had 171 immigrants on it. We ended up feeding them all the good food. We ate crappy food, but it is what it is. And but they make you do a lot of push-ups and sit-ups and all that stuff. But I spent so much time in dental that they was repairing my teeth, and I still have a solid silver chunk. It's about a quarter. It's about, I want to say it's bigger than a quarter. It's about 5/16, 3/8 chunk of silver in one of my molars on the right side that's been flattened by eating food that is kind of compacting. I need to get it fixed. But let me go back to the subject. I don't woke up and I feel my chemicals changing and I'm going off on tangents. So this, I don't know where to put this video. I might end up putting it in the positive section. But I'm trying to stick on subject. But since I spent so much time in the dental, I didn't have enough time to graduate. So I was supposed to graduate. So they moved me back to the next company. I was in Hotel 151, which is December. Then since I didn't make it, I think it was a Hotel 152 or Hotel 151. But I ended up jumping up to India 152 or 151. And the leader of that drill sergeant, he was a telecommunications officer. He believed in the mind. That was. I don't know. I don't believe in like jinxes and providence and serendipity and coincidences and karma. But just in case I am wrong, I like cross when a black cat goes in front of me path, and I try not to do anything negative or anything like that. And I say I don't want to, no offense, and not to jinx myself. I say things like that, but not to jinx myself. But I think that was like providence or something that was supposed to be for me, because I couldn't handle the physical parts. Those two bosun's mates, they was always out there making us do push-ups. We took our beds outside. We was always running and carrying the guns. But when I got held back for the India 152 or 151, I can't remember which one it is. It's been over almost 30 years. And he was a telecommunications. He was all about the mind. So we studied books and reread. We had to go out there and do stay in shape, run the miles and all that stuff, go to the training courses and do the honor guard for the guns and everything and shoot and tie knots and stuff. But his main thing was the mind. And that was where I just blossomed, because with books and all that stuff and learning all the chain of command and all the. But anyways, I don't know where I went. I'm definitely in the positive state. I've done woken up. I've drunk some coffee to get a little bit more awake. I sat in here earlier for so long that I let the coffee burn, and now the bottom of my coffee pot's black. I got to clean that out. But my gift to you is your gift to me. I need you to remind me of things that you would like to talk about, and if I don't know it, I'll figure it out. And I'm pretty good about. I've always known how stuff works before I actually knew how it worked, like the technical stuff. Like I knew everything there is to know about an engine, from pulling it completely apart to putting it back together, electronics, all that stuff. But once I started getting to the point where I started getting books. So when I went to getting books, I started getting into the technical parts. I still couldn't pronounce the words, but it was the way that my brain functions. Once I have a conversation with somebody and I'm in the neutral, balanced part of my personality where I'm able to talk and explain, I let everybody know that I'm not normally like this. I have a chemical imbalance and I'm able to talk. So if you see me walking around and just being normal and quiet, that's where I'm okay and I'm fine. I'm comfortable. See, it takes an effort without the chemical imbalance to get the courage to talk to people. But once I have that one conversation with them, I'm okay. I'm not scared of them no more. I'm not really necessarily scared of them. I'm not scared to be around them, and I'm comfortable with them because they know they just had a little part of my personality, and since they had a little part of my personality, everything's okay, and I'm able to function. So that's one of the reasons why I'm making these videos. I need you to remind me of stuff that I'm guarantee you I probably know it. I've just forgotten it, and by you reminding me, I believe that I'll be able to use this for like maybe getting views. If you guys would tell people like, dude, you've got to see this guy. You got to meet this guy, because I'll never be able to meet anybody, and like this is my gift to the world. I don't know how much longer I have, and I don't want to put problems on my mom as far as like having to pay for bills and stuff. I just got on disability. I'm not supposed to be, probably not supposed to be telling this, but I got $914 a month. And I live in a place where my rent is $900, but all my bills are completely paid for. My mom pays for my car insurance because I take her back and forth to the doctor, and I use the vehicle also to go to chemo and back and forth to the doctors and stuff like that. But I want to gift you with knowledge that I guarantee you didn't know that you needed to know until you've seen it. But then again, who cares? It's not necessary. You don't have to watch these videos or listen to anything I say, but it's not going to hurt. Maybe the time limit will hurt, because this is like 31 minutes and 47, 48, 49, 50 seconds. But this one video right here will help you understand my personality somewhat, so we can help each other. Even if we don't help each other and you know everything and you don't want me to talk about anything, or you just don't want to talk about me anymore, or whatever you decide, it's not going to bother me. I'm doing this for myself. But I really would appreciate it if you would help me remember the stuff that I've forgotten for me, because it's like that old saying, or it's not a saying, but it's like somebody tells you, I know hundreds and hundreds of jokes. I probably said this before, but if somebody tells you a joke, it reminds you of a joke. Then once you tell that joke, it reminds the other person. And I know lots and lots of jokes, dirty ones, clean ones, some of the craziest jokes, some of the nastiest jokes that I'm pretty sure nobody's ever heard before. And if not, that's fine, because I love to laugh. But the one language in the world that does not need any translation is laughter. It doesn't matter where you go. If you laugh, everybody understands it. And it's just, that's my currency. That knowledge. But I've got some ideas. I got a lot written down. I had like I couldn't eat anything for 3 days, and they put me on this medication. So I went to my friend's house because I couldn't drive. I had to take the medication for 3 days. Then on the third day, I had 3 different pills for the antibodies. And at the last, right at midnight or 10 o'clock, that was the last time I took the 3 pills. I had to take this 1 pill before surgery. And the next day, I couldn't drink any liquids. Or that whole day, I couldn't drink eat any food. I had to drink liquids and boosts and stuff like that, and Ensures. But the next day, after 10 o'clock that night, I wasn't allowed to drink anything but clear liquids, no boost, because if I was to drink a boost or an Ensure, it would cancel out my surgery. And those days that I took those medications, I've made like videos 3 hours at a time from that medication, because it put me in the positive state. I tell you, it looks like I'm tweaking, because I'm pretty much tweaking like crazy, because I know it. But I was in the positive state, and I was going tangent to tangent. But the ideas and the stuff that made me come up with this idea to do the YouTube page. But I went back and I watched those videos, and I'm like, these people are gonna think I'm a drug addict. They're gonna think I don't know, I've done something that I didn't, and I can't show these people these videos, man. It looks bad, but the stuff that I'm talking about on them videos is like, I want people to at least watch them and not judge me. But man, I'm coming down. That's good. Maybe I'll get some rest. But if you will remind me of something, I'll remind you of something or show you something. But I've got a lot of stuff that I've got planned. I think I need to get a better camera because I'm using my cell phone. I'm using my laptop right now. But the videos that I made that's got the gore and stuff on it, I hurt myself. And that was made with the camera. So I made 2 videos. 1 minute videos was over 125 megabytes. And I was like, man, you can't. So I made another video. It's only 101, and I was able to send it to a friend of mine through Messenger. I told him, don't freak out when you see this, man, but I'm okay. But it was scary. But 36 minutes in, struggling. But anyways, back to the subject. My dad taught me how to do soldering iron before I ever learned how to do anything. But he taught me how to measure the resistances, capacitances, read PNP resistors, and NPN resistors, how to use heat sinks mainly so the part doesn't get tore up, and pull the parts out. And I had this little blue container with a white lid that had like little compartments in it. And I would take circuit boards apart with a little gun and everything. That you press a button and it gets rid of solder. There's a couple different ways to get rid of solder. There's one way, if you don't have anything, you can use like an ink pen. Make sure you put your tongue on after you take the insides out. If you can't get the back end of it out, you have to cut it. But put your tongue on the back side of it to put pressure, solid pressure on it. So when you heat it up, just go real quick. It'll shoot the solder off. Or you get a braided cable that comes in like a little round circle thing. I can't know what it's called. Look in the container. You pull it out like you're pulling out ribbons. And also you either get one in the machine that you press it down and it on a spring loaded and it clicks and it's got a button. It's got a long tube with like a little point on it. You heat up the solder and you press that button and it automatically lets go of the plunger. The plunger shoots upwards and it causes a negative vacuum and it sucks the solder up into the little compartment where the plunger's at. But that's what I did all the time, is just take parts out. And just my dad would come and get parts. See, we dumpster dived. And it's like my dad would make more money off of people that didn't know how to do anything but had money that could throw stuff away like TVs and VCRs. And you can take a VCR and the VCR runs at an angle. Take a ID card, credit card, anything with a magnet strip on it and run it across and the numbers pop up on the screen. That's just everything, man. Just you wouldn't believe. So I just remembered that. That's what I needed, something to remind me of that. And that's useful for most people. I guarantee you don't even know that. But yeah, I was following my dad around. He done TV repair, carpentry, plumbing. He's a master musician. I've had him playing Metallica, Nirvana, but he can't read music at all. He does it all by ear. He tunes his own guitars to the point where he had electrical guitar tuners, and he would match it perfect. I don't know how he done it, but he just can play anything and everything. He was a lead guitarist. He done drums, really good on the piano. Started doing karaoke the last couple of years because he's trying to fix his lungs. And I begged him and begged him and begged him to make videos. It's like, Dad, nobody is going to believe me. Nobody will ever believe me at what you can do. But he was 1943. His idols were Chet Atkins and Jim Reeves and Hank Snow. And we watched Hee Haw. And can you believe my dad played music with the blind man off Roadhouse? My dad knew that man. He played music with him. And he talked about it every time I watched Roadhouse. And I remember going to work one day. I had to drive 40 miles. I was a geotechnical environmental driller. I was a drilling apprentice. If I would have got my CDL, I would have had my own crew. So what they would do, they would take the machine. It was 18,000 pounds, completely unloaded, 6 wheels, It had planetary gears. I don't know if you guys know what a planetary gear is. It's the same gear that's in electric power drills, but it's a hub with gears on the inside. Then you got three sprockets, and a gear goes in the center of the three sprockets, so it causes torque. And when it causes torque, it's extremely powerful. That thing, the fastest it can go is probably like 15 miles an hour. But when you put that thing in first gear, you could set that thing anywhere, and you could not stop the tires. Just no matter what you do, it's just it was power. We just knock down trees and everything. But anyways, I drive 40 miles to work, go to work when it's dark, come home when it's dark. I made really really good money, but that was before I got in trouble. That was back in I was September of the year that I got in trouble. I was in county jail. That was my 5-year mark, and I got arrested in February of that year. So I almost made it 5 years in that job. I don't even think the company's around anymore. When I first got the job, my cousin had here's another tangent. My cousin had a big burn on his arm, and I knew exactly what it was because of the shape of it. It was a welding glove. Above the welding glove, which goes up to half of your forearm, right there on his the long sleeve shirt or short sleeve shirt, and between the short sleeve shirt and the welding glove had this red burnt mark. I said, man, what have you been doing, man? I knew what it was. He's like, man, I've been welding, man. I was like, hey, man, I just moved up here. I need a job. That's what I do. That's all I've ever done. He's like, man, I'll get you a job. So he got me a job. Come to find out, it had nothing to do with welding. The welding was, they was hard surfacing the augers. And hard surfacing is a different, it's a different type of welding. It's very abrasive resistance. You can't make no sparks at all. But you hit it with a hammer, it'll shatter. But it's like completely, it takes this very special welding wire, which usually but as the company, I was so good at the company. The first day I was on the job, see, the machine runs out there and runs out a flag after the utilities come out, and we drill down to a very specific depth. Then we take, like, a quick example is like sticking a straw down in some ice and you pulling it out. If you blow on that straw, you will shoot out a core. It's an ice core. You can see, but we did that with soil, and we strata, sandy, silt, we core rock, and the deepest I've ever been was 115 feet core and rock. But they would drive the machine, since they didn't have a CDL. They would drive the machine because it has to be transported on either a rollback or a tractor trailer. You got to have a commercial driver's license. So they would transport the machine to a job site, and I would unload it and just do the job by myself, or have somebody help me out and do the job. But on my first day, I actually corrected usually they have scientists or geologists that will go around with us to make sure they got the numbers right. And when he puts the rod down in the ground, he takes a little measuring thing. It's got 3 marks on it. Puts 3 marks. You count how many times a specific amount of weight takes to pound the spoon and the sub and all that down in the ground. It opens up like 2 pieces of half moon once you unscrew it, and inside is like a long sleeve of soil. And we pulled up ants and trees and all kinds of crazy stuff. If you pull up trees, it's called fill. You got to go down past the fill dirt, because that will decay, and it'll actually decay and fall in, so you have sinkholes. But they was going through, and I was actually on my very first day. See, my cousin, he's big and strong. He's one of them people that doesn't really know how to use tools. If he comes up on a bolt and sees a bolt that's rusty, he's not going to think nothing of it, and he's going to break the bolt. Me, I'm going to use WD-40 or liquid wrench and a wire brush. I'm all about tools. My dad had so many tools that if you put a tool back in the toolbox and it was had any type of oil or dirt on it or was out of place, he would throw it across or throw it at you. So you learn very quickly to be perfect. And don't back talk, don't make any noise, don't show no emotions. But anyways, the first day they put me on the paperwork. I was the one that there's like the man that runs the machine. There's the guy that does the paperwork. He handles the spoons and checks the soil and stuff. And another one runs around and carries the big heavy augers and puts the rods and spoons down in there. If you guys want me to, I can sit there and explain every single little detail from unloading the truck to leveling it out, the depths, and count it all the way up until we're done of the process. I got it memorized by heart. But he always wanted to do the augers. He didn't like doing thinking, so he put me over there on the paperwork. And the paperwork, on the very first day on the paperwork, I actually corrected the scientist that was out there that was checking the soil behind me. So we put soil samples in jars, and you labeled it from like 0 to 5 to 2.5, or then 3.5 to 5, then 6.0 to 7.5, then 8.5 to 10. And after that, they give you the option to go to 12.5 or 10. I think it's 12 to 13.5, then 13.5 to 15. But actually, usually after you get to 10 foot, it's every 5 feet after that until you either go to the very specific depth, you hit fill dirt, you got to label when you hit groundwater, or you hit rock. And if you hit rock, you got to grind on it for a while. Then you got to put a spoon down there and you got to hit it. Then you mark it with the 3 marks. You add the first, or you count the first. There's 6 inches. It's 18 inches. The first 6 inches, how many times it hits to go past that line. The next one, how many knocks hits it has to go to that line. And the next one, how many hits it goes to that line. You take the last 2 lines, add those 2 together, and that's your end count. So it's like 5, 10, 15. It's like you add the 10 and the 15 together, you get 25. But when you're hitting rock, you have to count to 50 no matter what. Then measure how it is. Usually it's like, if it's really hard rock, it's like 50 over 1 or 50 over 2 or 50 over half. No residual sample left, because it has to at least be like 5 or 6 inches to get up into the cone on the front, to get up into the spoon. But that's when it's really hard. That's when they know where rock's at. But you can't stop them in any trees or anything. We put monitoring wells in. If you ever go to a gas station, you know they're the little round circle things that usually put the gas in. Also, gas stations have monitoring wells. It's mandatory for all gas stations. And each one of them monitoring wells is registered with the National Groundwater Association. That's my boss man's number and everything. What they do is they drill down till they hit groundwater with the size 8 auger, which is really big. And after that, you don't drill no more. You have a 55-gallon drum, brand new, clean. Open it up, and when you raise the auger up straight. You don't spin it anymore. And you take all the soil and you put it in that bucket. But you raise it up like 6 inches, and you get a number 2 sand. And a number 2 sand, you pour it down in a hole. That way, you can you can take it with a measuring tape down and keep down. Send the measuring tape with a wheel all the way down to the bottom, touch it to the top of the auger, raise it from the top of the auger down to the ground, and you take that and it's kind of complicated. I can explain it better. You take the numbers away. But what you're doing is you're fixing to make a monitoring well. You take some PVC, polyvinyl chloride, that has, they tell you how much to put a cap on the bottom. They got risers, and they have filters and risers. They want to tell you how much screens and risers, how much of a screen they want down to the ground, and how much of a riser they want. And what it is they put a little barrier of sand down in there once they get to the water level, and they put these the PVC pipe it's about, I'm gonna say 2-3 inches in diameter, and they put a cap on the bottom, and the screen has like lines in it every quarter of an inch, sometimes a little bit less, a little bit more, goes up to however much they want it. Then you put a riser on it, which is solid PVC no more. So you'll put that down to the ground. The boss man will raise the auger up. You pour number 2 sand down in there. He checks it with his measuring tape the whole time till he feels the sand is up at the bottom of the auger. When the sand's up at the bottom of the auger, he raises it up a little bit more. You pour more sand down in there. What it is the groundwater will go through the sand. And when it goes through the sand, no dirt or anything after a while will go through. Or if it does, it won't clog up the lines that are cut into PVC, the polyvinyl chloride. And it goes into this little tube. So when the scientist comes out, they unscrew it I'll tell you about the cap and everything later. They unscrew the cap, put this little machine down in there. It's got this ball that floats up, or actually it doesn't really float. It kind of it raises up so the water can come up, and when the water's not coming up and it equalizes, it goes back down to the bottom, and it acts as like a little ball that sits down in a little cup, and it stops the water from coming back out. So when you raise it up, you raise it out, you have a sample of the groundwater that was in there. And usually they do this for the ballast tanks to make sure the gas hasn't leaked out into the groundwater supply and stuff like that. So you raise it up, you pull the augers off, and all the dirt goes, and then you cut this little 2 foot by 2 foot square, and you add the cap down in there. It's got 2 bolts, and under that it's got a weather seal, which is like a rubber O-ring. And under that is a plate that you put your name and your specific code for your membership with the Groundwater Association, which you have to have as a drilling apprentice, and the location, time, date, blah blah blah, and it's all registered online, and it's underneath the bottom of the cap. But on the top of the PVC pipe, they have a little plunger. It almost looks like one of the plungers you put in the sink, but it's got a little handle on it that's got like a little hole for when the handle and the screw handle, which you tighten the screw handle, it tightens up, and when it tightens up, it spreads out. That way it touches the inside of the PVC pipe real tight, and you fold it over, and the 2 holes match together. You put a little lock on it, and they can't nobody open it. And the only person that gets the lock is whoever's going to come and open it up to check the groundwater. So, as it did that, but that was a really good job, man. But I corrected the scientist guy. There's a bunch of different companies out here. Because when I first got the job, I was working for a drilling company, but the drilling company really wasn't the best in the world. But we had some really good drillers, and I was one of the apprentices. There's only 2 apprentices. One for one of the drillers that worked. He was from New York, and one for the other driller that I worked with. He was from here. He took his apprentice, and he took me. My cousin lost his job because he just couldn't cut it. And I started doing the whole entire job, and we went and formed a new company, and I was there ever since. And it got to the point where I'd have everything set up, run around. I would miss I would get the first spoon goes in the ground first, and they pound it down in there. Then I take the hammer off. This big old huge hammer. It's got threads on it. I raise it up, put it on the next one, and for the next sample, and he hands me the cable that's got a winch on the end of it, which is threaded. I raise that one up. I take that spoon off, and I run around and start doing my sample. And when I'm doing that sample, he's pounding away. So by the time I come around, he's already got the numbers written down as the 3/6 inches, or he's got them written down. So I'm just running around, and I'm putting the spoon down in a wooden thing that's got 3 holes in it, and I'm automatically going around to grab the next auger because we're going down again. That's the only time that I miscount is that second spoon, because by the time I'm done with that one, I come back around, I'm getting the numbers for that one, and I'm setting it up to where I'm always back around there. Because the first one is really fast, because as soon as we do the first sample, it's directly on top of the ground, unless they want like a specific depth. And when I'm running off, he's automatically beating on the second sample because he drills the hole first. Then I can take a rod, it's got the spoon on it with a 5-foot extension cable or extension rod on it, put it down in that first auger. Then I grab my little one, it's got like a little 2-foot with the 2-foot sub, or the 2-foot spoon, and that's how I do that sample. So I missed the second sample, but other than that, I'm always back there, and he uses the phone. I'll start running the machine and do it myself. But yeah, done a lot of crazy stuff, man. I used to work at a rental when I got out of the Coast Guard. My dad. I got a car, and as soon as I got the car, the where I was stationed was Alameda's Coast Guard Island. There's 4 ships there, maybe 5, 4 shifts. Morgenthau, the Boutwell, the Monroe, and the Morgenthau. Yeah, and we used to, when we leave, we'd go past uh under the Bay Bridge. Alcatraz would be on the right. Then you go underneath the Golden Gate Bridge. We'd either go north or south. We'd stay out 9 months and come in 3 months. I've been to Hawaii, Japan, Guam, Acapulco, Puerto Vallarta. I turned 20. I turned 19 in boot camp. I turned 20 in Juneau, Alaska. We was up there in Juneau, Alaska, refueling. That way we come out next to the Aleutian Islands, in between the Aleutian Islands, make a right, come back in to Dutch Harbor. I was 20. I actually seen the Dangerous Catch ships before I ever knew the Dangerous Catch was a TV show, because I didn't watch TV. But I got a car and I drove 72 miles to where my dad was working. It was 95 Mitsubishi Eclipse. And Dad had an old Ford truck. He loved Ford trucks from the 70 model. And he had a 460 in it. He said, I knew you'd show up because I knew you was going to get that car. I was like, yeah, I couldn't help it, Dad. So on the way to my dad's house, he lived in a different county. He pulls up to the to get on the interstate. He reaches out, taps on the hood of the car, and spins his finger. And I didn't see nothing but smoke. I had to come around him at 110 miles an hour in my little Mitsubishi Eclipse just to catch up with him. He left me in the dust with that big old 460. But my dad's engines was perfect, man. The outside of the truck might not look like nothing, but everything mechanical was obsessed over. And after I passed him, I got behind him and went to his house. But after I got a job, my dad was the rental place that we worked for out there in Davis, California, University of Davis. They owned 7 stores. So I got in, but 3 of them was close to us. A couple of them, the other 4 was around like Nevada and other parts of California that was too far for me and my dad to travel. So me and my dad was in charge of 3 stores. We did all the work from like rental stores. They have everything, spoons, you name it, every tool imaginable. Like if somebody come and rented a saw to cut the concrete, I had to go out there and measure on this little machine with the micrometer on it. So when they got done and they brought it back, I knew exactly how much they used because I re-measure it with the micrometer when they came back. So that's how much we charged them. We get spoons. We go pick up cotton candy machines, tables up to galore, anything for throwing parties, balloons, all kinds of weed eaters and lawnmowers, and they sold concrete by the yard and stuff. And yeah, it was just. Yeah, most of my life has been straight mechanical, and I've got this ability now that I can see something I've never seen before. There's a lot of stuff I haven't seen, but I automatically, even if I've never taken it apart, I can take it apart and put it back together and fix it because I know I have that natural ability. I know how stuff works. But just help me out a little bit, and I'll do my best to help you out. Or even if you don't want to know anything, just give me ideas if you see this, or some friends tell them that, hey, just go give them a like and subscribe or something. Who knows? I might live longer than I'm expected, and I might make something to YouTube. I might have found my little niche. Most of my videos are gonna be, you're not gonna see anything but my hands, anyways, because I won't even be able to focus if I have to concentrate. See, I have this thing to where I can be working on something all day long and I'm fine. But the split second somebody walks up to me and stands over my shoulder or even just looks at me, I will hit my thumb. I will bend nails, and I will just, I can't focus because the way that I watch people and the way that I analyze things is it's almost like I see lines and I see fulcrums and different things and weights and numbers. It's just like, it's really, really hard to explain because it's so natural that I really don't even think about it anymore. But when you're standing behind me, I've already analyzed this. When you're standing behind me, and you're probably not even paying attention, but I'm paying attention to you. I'm paying attention to how you are watching me hold my hammer, because that's what I would normally do to you, how I'm holding my nails, what am I doing, does this guy really know what he's doing? and stuff like that, because people automatically, if they don't know you, they assume something, or they just are just curious. So I lose concentration, and I end up doing I can't function. But once I have a conversation with you in that one state, you know that I don't have any I don't have any social skills. So if you're not around and you're not watching me, I'm not going to take off running and go smoke a cigarette because I don't smoke. I'm not going to go over to this group of people and start bullshitting. I'm not going to pull out my phone and start watching all these different things. I'm going to be 100% focused when I'm left alone on my job because I don't know anything else. So once you know that, and I have the conversations with you and I explain my personality with you, and you see it, you see me being quiet, or you just leave me alone, because like after a while you'd be like, you don't even have to worry. You're like, I ain't got to worry about him. And I know, he's 100%. I ain't got to watch him for nothing. There's a bunch of other people I got to watch. Him, I leave him alone. He does his thing. It's a whole lot less stressful for me. I ain't got to worry about him. He's on the job. I know exactly what he's doing. And it sets us both at ease. And it puts me in a state to where I don't have nobody looking over my shoulder. And I can be myself. And I can just be me. And that's what I need to function. Is I need to have that conversation with people. That way they're not standing over my shoulder. See, when I was locked up, all I did was work on radios. And it's like all the time. But the thing about working on radios is I could sit there and explain to you how it worked. I just didn't replace parts. I made more money off of fixing people's messed up stuff than what am I thinking? Than anything else, because people really didn't know what they was doing. In fact, if you guys have made it this far, this long, if I can find it, where is it? I'm so unorganized because I got so much stuff going on. Here it is. I actually have my radio I brought with me. And I hope you guys don't see anything, but I'm going to pop this off real quick. And I'm going to show you, hopefully you can see it. If I don't show my face, I don't really want to show my face of what it looks like. This radio has a bunch of 330s equal 990. Depends on how you put the either in series or parallel. And what it does is if you put them in certain areas, it either jumps it up or it lowers it. And it has a 2200 microfarad, and this is 1000 microfarad, and it's completely has a base switch to where you can completely lower it down to where it's all bass. And the only way I could play it is my radio was the loudest radio at the camp. And this is the second time I had to build it, because when I got shipped to that camp, I got scared I wasn't allowed to take my radio with me. So I had a man trade me his radio so I can have a radio that you couldn't see all this stuff. And this thing right here, I had to make this out of taking it out of a mono radio. I had to make this so I can listen to my radio, which that means is my radio is so loud that I can't turn it up. I have to put 2 set of headphones in, and like usually I share it with people because they love to hear about how loud my radio is. Everybody's like, "Stick man, I want you to give me some more bass, give me some more bass." And I said, "It's not so. You're not getting more bass. A capacitor has a charge and a discharge time. So, like the the microfarad is the one that looks like an upside down N. I would say U, but it's got the little hangy ball thing that comes down on the letter. It's micro. But it has a charge and a discharge time. And if you don't believe me, I can show you in books. I can show you all this information. I'm not making it up. I'm not lying to you. I'm honestly proud that I know this. But the big capacitors, which are 1 farad that go in cars, the big silver ones, are there as a battery. That's why most of these capacitors are. They'll hold a certain amount of power in between the circuits, between like the resistors and all that, so that certain parts can do their job. And if you didn't have that capacitor, you would suck your battery dry, because every time you hit base, it draws energy. And the only thing a capacitor is the battery. That's why you can't touch capacitors. They'll shock the living shit out of you if they're big enough. They can kill you too. But you'll hear bass, and usually if you don't have a big enough capacitor, if you hear heavy bass, it drains that capacitor. So therefore you get like boom, then you'll be like boom, 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 boom. You still got the same amount. It's just that usually the music's going so fast that the capacitor can't charge back up, so therefore you doesn't sound like you got bass. But if you have bigger capacitors, you're not draining that whole entire capacitor out, and you're getting the bass. You're not getting extra bass. You're just getting the first original boom, and it's staying boom, boom, boom the whole time. And the back, everything is lined up and it's hell. It's just it's not hard. It's not hard or complicated for me because that's what I'm good at. But I had people where they wouldn't let nobody work on their radios but me. I had contracts. And that was while I was a cook. I was the head cook. And they'd be like, certain meals, because I didn't steal. I don't steal. I lost my entire childhood when I was a kid. We always lived in trailer parks. Didn't live in a house till I got tired of moving around. I was like 18 or so, or 19. No, that's where I got out of the Coast Guard. That's when I had my first house. I came back from out there in California because I got in trouble, and I was like, I don't like it out here. I just getting around too many people that makes me uncomfortable. Getting influenced by stuff. I'm not easily influenced because, like I said, I'm not social with people. I don't have to impress anybody. I don't care if you like me or you don't, because I'm my own little world. I can do things you can't do, and I know I can do things you can't do. I don't brag about it. I'm not going to shove it in your face, but in my back of my mind, I'm proud of who I am. But damn, where was I at? Yeah, they would be like, who's cooking? Or like spaghetti, or like we make like certain type of chicken sandwiches, or pasta skillet, or turkey and gravy and stuff like. Who's cooking the meal? They're like, Stick is. Oh man, we're going to chow hall. And I would have people that would pay me to take other people's shifts, so I would cook the food in the chow hall. And like, I'm skin and bone, but I know how to cook. I know temperatures. I know. If you want to know about that, I can explain some stuff to you about how stuff works, making roux and gravies, and how to check temperatures, and it's I'm just good at stuff. I don't know, man. I don't have any distractions. And like I said, I don't lie and I don't steal. We lived in trailers my whole life, and my dad was the manager of one trailer park. Then we had a deal. We moved to another trailer park that we was going through the process of buying it. We had 25 trailers, and my dad, he hates cats, so he would shoot cats with BB guns, and I'd have to climb underneath the trailers, and that's where I don't understand the whole some stuff. I climb underneath the trailer, grab a dead cat with maggots and stuff, and not think nothing of it, and not be sad that it died because it's just part of how it was. And I found a cat one day. I took it home to Dad, a big fluffy, either yellow or white cat. My dad took it, and he just immediately stuck the head down in the ground and started rubbing his head down in the dirt, and it died. Then all of a sudden, it's like, meow, and it jumped up and took off running. Dad goes in the house, gets his 30-06, comes out and shoots it. It goes down in the gully. Dad shoots it. A couple days later, I'm down there poking it with a stick, picking it up and playing with it. And so I didn't know any better because left on my own, and I didn't turn into a psycho that I know of. But it's just like the stuff that would bother normal people just doesn't bother me, or I just don't think of it. I don't have that human connection to understand, because it's not it's just an inanimate object to me. It's like, that's my life, tools and stuff. It's just everything has my dad would get so upset if he's ever seen me using an adjustable wrench on any type of bolts, because every single bolt has an exact size, and every single exact size has an exact size socket, wrench. That's just how it is. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And the worst tool in the world, if he ever seen me use it, was a pair of vice grips. If I rounded off a nut, he would I learned quick that you did everything exactly like it was supposed to be. You didn't rig anything. My dad said the N word, but I say monkey rigging because it's people get offensive saying that when you say that word when really it's just the technically it's a tree or a color or like negro. Negro is black in Spanish. Blanco is white. It's just it's a word. It has a specific meaning, but if people use it in a way that they own it, that can't nobody say it except I'm confused about that because it's like it's a word. You don't own a word. It's like I understand how they feel they can, and they could probably justify it, and it makes perfect sense. But it's just I don't know, man. I don't understand. I had to like one of the most racist dads in the world, and I didn't get. And I'm not racist. That's the crazy part about it. But I say GD all the time, and every once in a while I'll say the N word. I don't mean it. It's just because it's just a word. It's just I don't say the like the N word in the word. I'll say it like I don't what is it? Rig people, but the NEGGER rig. But that's because my dad said that all the time. I don't have any religion whatsoever, but I say GD all the time, and I wish I didn't say it because it's like almost like I feel like I'm doing something bad because it's like people think, oh, he believes. No, he doesn't believe. I've never believed. It's just I'm not meant to. It makes no sense to me. When I got locked up, I read the Bible. I think I've read it twice, all the stories, because I want to know what people are talking about. But I'm just not meant to. You can't make me believe in something like that. But the funny part about it is, which I say a lot, is I'm not going to sit there and tell you he does that. Okay, he or it doesn't exist. But the first thing that most religious people do, they tell me I'm going to like burn in hell or something. Well, why are you preaching to me? I'm not preaching to you. You leave me alone, I'll leave you alone. But it doesn't happen that way. For some reason, people with religion always try to recruit people. The people that don't have religion just wants to be left alone. And it's like I don't understand how it could be like there could be freedom of religion if the people won't let you not have them. It's just some stuff. Play on words, man. Play on words. It's funny if anybody's ever actually read the Declaration of Independence. I believe the first time I read it was in the back of Honor Among Thieves. It's a really big book. It's a really good book. And it's like they was the whole time. It's been a while. I don't know it by heart. It might be verbatim, and I swear I'm sorry if I get this wrong. But it was almost like the whole time they were talking that in that whole thing, they were trying to get away from across the pond, and they was talking bad about being controlled and all that. And they don't want to be controlled. It's just I need to read it again. I need to be reminded of it. I don't need to be reminded of it, but I feel like I just did a bad thing by giving false information. But back to the story about the trailer parks is Mom would always pull out a big old huge piece of luggage. And behind it was the cash box where we kept all the receipts. My dad, we went to go play music one time. This is back when I was like 8 or 9, 10 years old. We came back. The house got busted into. They had a big, huge house. We used to find it's back in the 1900s. They had a big up in the attic. Dad found letters of soldiers that was bivouacked, writing home to loved ones. But anyways, we come in and the French doors was broken wide open, and the suitcase was gone. They didn't even get the cash box because they thought my mom put the money in. That's where because every time somebody would come in to pay rent, my mom would pull that out and reach behind it and grab the cash box. So inside that suitcase was all my baby pictures, birth certificates. I got birth certificate now, but all the information that proved I existed as a baby. Me, my brother, grandma, grandpa pictures, all that stuff is gone. I scoured the woods with my dad, looking for that suitcase and never found it. So I practically lost most of my memories of a childhood. So therefore, I'm against thievery. I just don't like it at all. I don't steal. I don't lie. because I don't have to. I don't have nothing to prove to anybody. There's no outside influences for me to feel like I have to. I'm just me. And it's like it's people feel like it's like a breath of fresh air when people talk to me, when you get me to talking, because I'm a real person. I'm just, I don't know, the old saying, I'm only human. Well, I'm superhuman. No. But anyways, I really would appreciate if you work with me. You don't have to. But if you know some people, hell, maybe I would like to have some work, honestly. Something that I could do. And that's why I'm making some more videos at my house. I went through, because I ain't got a lot of time, but I went through all my storage compartments and stuff that I had when I was locked up. And all I have is tools. I have nothing else. I mean, I have so many tools. A lot of my tools are in my truck, because I made sure that I had a full set of SAE metric, and I made sure I had like pry bars and screwdrivers and everything. That way I could have it in my truck in case it broke down, which it ain't gonna break down because it's got a brand spanking new crate motor in it. My dad got upset with me. I spent when I bought the truck, the guy's like, "Oh, it's got a 350 in it." The 350 and the 305 look the same. And the distributor on a Chevrolet engine is in the back next to the firewall. On a Ford, it's up front next to like the water pump. So I climbed up there, got back there in the back. He said I didn't say anything to him, but he's like, "It's a 350 and it's acting funny, it's making noises." And I knew what it was. It was losing compression. So I got it home, got out my compression tester, pulled out all the spark plugs, that way it would turn freely. Got the manual for the truck, know what it's supposed to compression is supposed to be. Compression was low. And two of the pistons, one of them was mushroomed in where it wasn't seating correctly, and the other had like a chunk taken out of it, like somebody hit it. I don't know how to explain it. It looks like the kerf from a cutting torch. Kerf. There's another term. Just if you guys don't know what a kerf is, I know all the lingo and I could explain all about the welding and stuff. And if somebody give me a welding job, I would be happy. But you can't. The only thing I ask about the welding job is you have to pay me for. You can't pay me the time that I do the job. You got to pay me for the finished product, because sometimes I have to take breaks and stuff. It takes me 12 hours or all day long to do a $200 job when I can make $600 in 12 hours. But I just want the job. I don't necessarily care about the money, but a little bit of money will help. But I can't because I can't make any extra money. They'll stop my benefits and stuff, and I need the Medicare, the Medicaid. But I probably got over $100,000 in. When I got diagnosed, I had $45,000 worth of medical medical bills, and that's not counting anything that I had that the cancer center wanted me to do, get some more X-rays of my lungs, and they was going to do biopsies. Then I just went and had this colostomy bag, and I spent almost an entire week, and that's surgery. And the food and the medicine and all that, I'm pretty sure I have over $120,000 worth of medical bills that I only have $14 left over each month. That's insane. I'll never be able to pay. And I don't know how. I don't have insurance. I don't have nothing. I don't know how my mom's gonna handle if I kick the bucket, and what's she gonna do? How's she gonna bury me or whatever? I told my mom that I didn't want to be buried. I told her I wanted to be stuffed, or I wanted to be laid in a casket with no clothes on except for like my private areas, which are covered in tattoos anyways too. I'm head to toe, top, bottom, everything, back of the head, everything in tattoos. Because that's one of the other things I did to make in prison, and I made it a point to where I took it as a personal mission that I did the needles and put the guns together for simply because I didn't want to pass on any bloodborne pathogens like hepatitis and stuff like that. And if people couldn't afford a needle, I would give them a free needle. And when I teach them how to take care of the needle, like by putting Vaseline on it or some type of ointment on it, That way it wouldn't rust. And I wouldn't allow nobody to reuse needles because that's how you spread. It's a B. Uh, damn it, I can't. It's a very specific term, and it's a charge in a prison. Communicating. No. Damn it, I'm sorry. Anyways, it's passing on communicable diseases. It's a charge, but I would make sure that people had needles. I put guns together. I draw pictures. I used to make money doing portraits. I might even draw you guys some pictures. I've got some pictures. I've still got a couple pictures. But the last few years that I was locked up, I got like over like 8 books on computer programming and C++. Because I was going to learn computer programming because I had some ideas for some video games. And I still got a really good idea for video games because my friend had a Power PC and a Game Informer. But the PC magazine that he had, his brother accidentally got him 2 prescriptions on accident. So he would let that one prescription go to all his friends, and when his friends got done with it, they'd give it to me, and I had it. And like I started doing computer programming, and I had a little a TI-85 Texas Instruments TI-85. I created. It's got basic. Well, basic for it's not basic language, but it's basic language for the Texas Instrument. It's a computer programming language that only works for that calculator, and so we're 6,470 something pixels on the top, like 680, all 6,470 something pixels altogether, 96 by 48 or something. It's a lot of pixels, and each one of them pixels can be turned on, off, or gray. And I created a video game on there, strictly code, to where it's Pathfinder, Dungeons and Dragons, by heart, because I was a dungeon master. I got all the books. I got over like $200-300 worth of books. All the books. I've even got the Forgotten Realms with Almeister and Dritz and all of them from so a couple. I've got a lot of books. I even got my own world that I created based off of World of Warcraft by playing World of Warcraft from 2007 to 2010. So, but yeah, I did my part. I tried to do good, and it was the point where once I made you don't make friends with the COs, but you become once the CO sees your personality and knows how you are, he'll never bother you again. Especially me, because they know they knew me from the way that I acted and having conversations with them, to the point where I've worked on radios with the CO standing behind me, and I got a fire burning in my locker, and he knows that's all I'm doing. Because I tried to explain to him, I was like, you don't understand. I'm doing a public service. This is crowd control. People, you do not understand how stressful it is in here when you cannot block anybody out. See, the TVs in prison, they run off of they have a little controller on the back of them that runs to a box that puts out a radio signal. And that's the only way you can hear the TV. And when you get on the phones, people yell and scream and slam dominoes on the ground and cuss and stuff. And like, if you look over at them, they get, what are you looking at? But when they get on the phone, you better be quiet. It's just like if you're not big enough or strong enough to beat the man up that controls the TV remote or the fan or sits where he wants to sit, you just got to do whatever it is. You got to watch what they want to watch. But I said, you don't understand. A lot of these people don't watch TV, and the only way that they can handle and coping with prison is to turn the radio on and block people out. I said, that's all I do. I'm providing crowd control. I'm providing a service so people have a way to listen to music and escape prison. Because I've had people that would go crazy because their radios would break, and they would wake me up in the middle of the night. That's one of the reasons why I stopped doing it. And after I stopped, I didn't and went to a new prison. I didn't let nobody know that I did it, But I ended up having to fix my radio one time, and I told him all the stuff that I needed. Then I started explaining it to him, and all of a sudden, then it's like the shit hit the fan, and I was back into doing it again. But I didn't do tattoos anymore. I haven't done a tattoo in over 5 years, almost 6 solid years. But I created and drew every single thing that I have, except for a couple of them I got in San Francisco. But I'm one of a kind on that part too. But yeah, once they had that conversation with me, I'd be back there in my locker all day long, and they never would bother me. And like, yeah, it just takes one person to get to know me and talk to me and understand my personality, and I'm fine, and you're fine, and you can trust me with just about anything. And I'm not asking you guys to go out on a limb and all of a sudden be my best friend and all this confidant and stuff, but I'm offering companionship and education for as long as I've got left, for just a little bit of help, or just the word of mouth, so somebody can find somebody that can help me so I can pay for these bills. I don't want to leave. I don't know what. I'll be like dead. I won't know it anyways. I hope I'm wrong. I hope that something exists out there that I can go and maybe possibly be with my family again, but I just don't. I'm gone. I'm gone. I won't know anything. It doesn't matter if I have money to help bury me or not. I won't know. I'm gone. I'm worm food, as far as I'm concerned. But just in case I'm wrong, it's just a commercial for the John Wick 4, I believe. He was down on his knees and he was praying or talking to his wife, and one of the guys sitting in the pew or next to him, he's like, "Do you believe in?" I don't want to get it wrong. I hate getting stuff wrong. He's like, "Do you believe in that?" And John Wick's like, "No." And the guy asked him, "Well, why are you doing it?" He's like, "Just in case I'm wrong." But so just in case I'm wrong, yeah. But I just don't. Words, man, words. You can tell if somebody reads. I can read a book nonstop and never, ever, ever get tired. I've seen people open up a book and within 5 minutes, they're going to sleep. It takes different kinds of mental strength. See, I can't do a lot of physical stuff, but mental stuff, I'm an Energizer Bunny because I've trained my brain to that's just how it is. You ever notice how I got lots and lots of books, and I want to start figuring out how there's a lot of books that have changed my life, and I might have to go figure out how to copyright and stuff. I might need to contact the publishers or whoever estate that is if the publisher is passed away, and ask them if I can advertise and talk about their books on my YouTube channel, which will actually remind people that those books existed. Because a lot of the books that I've read, I went on this kick where I started reading old books. I'm talking about Dorian Gray, Iliad, the Divine Comedy, the original Frankenstein, the one that when they made all these movies, it wasn't Boris Karloff and all them. It was the only one that came close to it is Mary Shelley's Frankenstein is the one that had Robert De Niro in it. But that book was actually just a joke. It wasn't supposed to be real. She does these functions where like they have these little writers clubs or readers clubs, so they write these little stories it was like supposed to write a story or something on the weekend. I don't want to get it wrong. I haven't read it in a while. It's been I guarantee you over 10 years since I've read that book. Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. But it was just like a little weekend project just to write a book, and she wrote that book. And like Dorian Gray and like the Ravenants and Faust. So many old books that when you see, I have this thing and I still got them. I can show you. I got like these. There's papers everywhere that I write notes down so I won't forget, because my brain is so full of stuff that it's like it's kicking stuff out. That way I can make room for more. So I would take an envelope and I would lick it closed, and I would fold it and lick it. That way, because it's obsessive compulsive, and I would rip it in half, and I would put it in every single book that I've read. and I would write down quotes, and I would write down information that I didn't know. That way I could remember it. And I started doing this when I first got locked up. And then I started going through books that I started getting the quotes from. Like a lot of Stephen King books, he does a lot of quotes in his books. That's what he's famous for. But he's also famous for telling you what a leaf looks like, the color of a leaf, and the texture for 4 straight pages. And these books are good though. And most of the books that he's got, like there's a lot of books that that are not like the TV, because the books take you like 2 or 3 days to read, and they only got 2 hours for a movie. So I would always suggest reading a book. So I've read a couple books before I've seen the TV shows, and it ruined the TV for me. And I've also seen a couple shows that before I've ever read the book, and that kind of it don't ruin the book. It never ruins the book. It just makes it a little bit harder to read the book because you know what to expect in the book. Now, if you read the book first and you watch a movie, you know that you don't have to expect anything because you know it's not going to be like the book. But if you watch a movie first, you're going to be expecting stuff in the books. Like a good example is like that Stephen King It. That book right there, the book is like, there's a lot of stuff going in there that they could not possibly even legally make into a movie that happens down in them sewers. I'm talking like, not being all crazy or nothing, but I'm talking like sex between kids with each other, that kind of thing. You can't put that in a movie. That's some serious crap right there. But you never would have known unless you read the book. And it's like, I would like to not necessarily talk about the books unless they let me to, but I think it would be good to bring awareness to the companies, like advertisement, by reminding people that these books exist, because a lot of people, the books exist, and they probably made so much money they ain't got to worry about it and stuff like that, royalties. But at the exact same time, these are good books, man. I've read some crappy books. Hey, I read a book one time called Humpty Dumpty or something like that I would pay people 2 stamps if they would read the book from front to back. If they would read that book, I'm trying to find it because I want to buy that book. If they would actually read the book front to back and tell me what it's about. I read that book 3 whole times and I still don't know what the hell that book's about. It makes no sense. It's like somebody saying, I'm just going to look at some paper, battery, negative, valve, prep, run, end, save, packed. It's just random words. It makes no sense. It starts out okay, but once the man, I guess gets hurt or something, it just gets to the point where nobody knows what's going on. So I was like, it just makes no sense, man. But I paid people 2 stamps if they could read that book. Well, I paid them 2 stamps if they would read the book from the beginning all the way to the end and tell me what the book's about and explain that book to me. Nobody's ever been able to do it. And that's like, I want that book on purpose because that's a crazy book. It's gray. It's got an egg. It's cracked on the front of it. It's named Humpty Dumpty or something like that. If anybody knows where it's at, I've searched for it, and the only thing I get is the original Humpty Dumpty. I can't find it. I even put in some crazy descriptions and stuff. But yeah, favorite books in the world are owner's manuals, and that don't make no sense, but it solves my curiosity. I'll show you my books. I'll show you all the stuff that I'm talking about. That way, people know that I'm telling the truth. Because I know I got a feeling you guys believe me because I made promises. I'm not gonna lie to you, and if I don't know, and if it's good enough to acknowledge, I will find out. And I have 2 versions of my explaining. The one where I am able to explain it on the terms of somebody who didn't really know what the technical stuff was, but knew how something worked. And then one where the new educated version that's more expanded to where I'm able to, I'm going to have to probably write down the words because I can't pronounce them. And if the words get too big, I've never been able to pronounce words very good. But I'll be able to show you the word and give you a brief, possibly tongue-tied version of what I think it says. That's the best I could do. But at least you know that it's true. That's my gift for you. I promise I'll never lie to you. Hell, I don't know. Maybe guys just would like to just hear me talk, or you want somebody to talk to, or like communicate like privately or something. If you know somebody who needs help or stress, I'm a pretty good. I found out that I'm a really good. I'm not necessarily a good therapist, but I'm a really good listener because I'm naturally quiet, and for some strange reason, people just want to talk to me and divulge information and stuff like that. And it's also to the point where I'm kind of like, go away, but too scared to tell you to go away because I'm scared and that kind of thing. So they think it's okay, that it's not bothering me because I don't show any emotions or anything like that. So they don't know that it's bothering me. So I kind of put myself in that position to where this guy thinks it's okay because I'm not showing any outward feelings that it's not okay. But inside, I was like, please, just go away. Please, just go away. Because it's hard to have a conversation with somebody that's on a different wavelength, I'll call it. And I've had a couple people that said that like to talk to me because they didn't have to dumb themselves down, and that happens more than you would think. I had to learn how to dap when I went to prison and stuff like that. There's a lot of things I had to learn how to do that I would consider a normal person not doing, because that's its own ecology. I say ecology because like the dirt and the mold and stuff, its own government until like the COs walking around. Some COs would walk around and shake their keys. That way anybody doing anything, they would stop. That way the CO didn't have to do no damn paperwork. He's so freaking lazy. And I have some COs that would hold their keys and wouldn't make no noise. And that's where the people in the block would have to say either man down or block hot or 12 and stuff like that. Then there's people that would watch in the block to see if anybody done that, because those people like didn't have no money or nothing. And if somebody didn't say it or didn't pay attention to it, they were wanting their job, and the person either got caught doing something or or the CO got like close enough into the dorm to where you looked up and you seen him yourself and you panicked and you almost stumbled and made an ass of yourself and draw attention to yourself, that person that was watching the person that was supposed to be watching or paying attention to people that was supposed to be watching, because that's something everybody in the block does. The first person that sees it automatically says something. The faster they point out that the CO's coming in the block to do a round, the better time, the more time you have to handle your business. So that person that was watching didn't do his job like the rest. He was just paying attention to the people in the dorm to see if anybody didn't point out that the CO was there. That way he can go and snitch on you and get like a suit, man. It's like, man, I know what happened, man. And he would sell his information to get a suit, or to get good standing so he can get a smoke or something. It's just, you ever seen a man die before? I've seen a man die before, no less than 4 feet in front of me, over something stupid, really stupid, and it was all a misunderstanding. Long story short, in the shower, you usually put your stuff up on the wall when you're getting in the shower, or you have the water running until you can get your stuff up on the shower. Man comes around the corner, looks in the shower because the water wasn't running and there was no stuff up on the counter. So he comes around and looks around the corner. A big, huge gang member, one of the lead gang members, was having sex with a gay guy, and he seen him. The man didn't even want to see it. It was a total, complete accident. The gang leader man thought that he was spying on him. Told him to go get his blade. He went in the day room. The man killed him, stabbed him to death right there in front of everybody. Over a misunderstanding. The man was just looking because there was no sound and no stuff. He was looking to see if the shower was empty so he can take a shower. It ended up costing him his life over a misunderstanding. The crazy part about it is, I say this a lot, the funny part about it is, in prison, there's different gangs that get down. There's some gangs that do it openly, or some gangs that don't do it, but they still do it, and everybody in the damn gang knows that they do it. You just don't say nothing about it. You just overlook it. And if somebody says something about it, you got to handle it. You got to go handle your business. And it's just, I've seen some dumb stuff, man. I was a janitor for 4.5 years, and people would wake me up, say, "Hey, man, we got some business we got to handle." And I was like, "Oh, okay, man." I'd go up there, sit up next to the phone, hawk the man, and loved watching them, because like people get violated in, or they get violated out, or initiated and all that stuff, or they just got to handle a beef and stuff. And like, I'd go back there, mop up the blood, push the bunks back where they're supposed to be, because they fighting and grappling, moving the bunks around, and go back to reading or go back to sleep. But they would always do that because people knew me. I was a radio man. And it was yeah, man. And I even got paid to get bags in prison. Like, you get bags that got like stuff from the outside that you can't get out in the canteen. Like a lot of popcorns and sauces and chips and stuff that you can't get in the canteen. That they would pay me to sit on my bunk and read. But I was gonna do it anyways. And just so if somebody come in to break in the locker, they see me there, they're not gonna do anything. Hell, I'm not gonna stop them from doing anything, but just the presence of someone being in there is gonna would usually deter somebody. But yeah, once people got to know my personality, it was I was well off. But I swear I'll never go back to prison. I know they say never, but I don't think I could make it this time. My mom helped me last time, and I don't think I can make it this time. Or if there is another time, which there won't be another time, but I know if there's something if I can't stop it before I get arrested, if I do something bad, which I'm not gonna do anything bad. I'm just not. It's not in my nature. That first time I got locked up was an accident. But I'll be hell on wheels, because all tattoos, all radios, I will make a life of it. Nothing I wouldn't do other than like things like really too crazy, but yeah. Well, guys, 1 minute 42 seconds, 1 hour 42 minutes 43 seconds. Damn, I can't believe I bumbled it up. I don't know if you guys have made it to the very end or not, but if you did, I thank you. So now you have a little glimpse into my personality. This is pretty much my conversation that I needed to have with you guys. But yeah, my gift to you is your gift to me, vice versa, and to help each other out, or just help me out. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to subscribe. You don't have to. I don't know. I don't know. I've forgotten more than I just forgot a lot, and I've recently been going through papers and looking and being reminded, and it's just like, it feels good. And it's like, I've got a vast amount of knowledge, and it's not just, I think this is how it works. No, this is how it works, and it's real easy, and it's like, it's the honest truth. And you're helping me, you would be helping me by saving my life, by helping me out with bills, and reminding me of the good times, of what makes me me. And in turn, I'll be gifting you with stories, jokes, knowledge, companionship, whatever you wanted to talk about. Or if you just or you just get a kick out of helping somebody. Alright, man. I love you guys. I know you don't know me, but I'm doing it on purpose. I'm out.